Hi guys, so while Boris Johnson's government was doing a victory lap over its decision to send anti-tank weapons to Ukraine in order to slow a potential incursion or a fully fledged invasion by Russia, the European Union has taken a different approach. But is it right? Individual member states are either providing military hardware or perhaps seeking to encourage more diplomatic solutions. The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, delivered this speech on what the EU is currently doing for its Eastern European neighbour.
Good morning. Last Friday, I spoke with President Zelensky to assess the situation in Ukraine that is created by Russia's aggressive actions. We discussed how the European Union could continue to support Ukraine, both in the immediate and the medium term. And as ever, the European Union stands by Ukraine in these difficult circumstances. We are very firm in our resolve. The European Union has already provided significant assistance to Ukraine, both in the support of the country's resilience and the country's modernization, but also specifically to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Since 2014, the European Union and the European financial institutions have allocated over 17 billion euros in grants and loans to the country. So today, I am announcing a new financial assistance package to the country, made both of emergency loans and grants. First of all, the Commission proposes a new emergency macrofinancial assistance package of 1.2 billion euros. This package will help Ukraine now to address its financing needs due to the conflict. We count on the Council and the European Parliament to adopt this emergency macrofinancial assistance as soon as possible. We will then proceed to the rapid disbursement of the first tranche of 600 million euros. Moreover, we will soon start work on a second, larger macrofinancial assistance program to support the country's modernization efforts. Secondly, the Commission will almost double its bilateral assistance to Ukraine in grants this year. Another 120 million euros will be allocated. This support will strengthen Ukraine's state-building and resilience efforts. And finally, on top of this, we will continue to invest in the country's future, thanks to our investment plan for the country. The plan aims at leveraging over 6 billion euros in investment. And let me be clear once more. Ukraine is a free and sovereign country. It makes its own choices, and the European Union stands by the side of Ukraine. Thank you.
Now, sorry if you are hoping that she would say something about tanks running across the border or military hardware being provided to Ukraine. That's not how the European Union functions. And, you know, that could be a criticism leveled at the European Union. But there are a number of things that have to be taken into account here. Ukraine is not a member of the European Union. So the EU is not going to respond with military hardware. It's going to continue to provide financial assistance. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why is it helping Ukraine out this way? Well, in January 2021, it began the process of EU membership, and it's likely to begin make a formal application to become a member of the European Union in 2024. The EU doesn't really rely on Ukraine for trade, but a lot of goods are imported from the EU into Ukraine. Now, Ukraine is a third country, like Great Britain, but it does work with the European Union through the Instrument for Stability to deal with issues such as crime and nuclear non-proliferation. But it's also part of the European Macro-Financing Assistance Scheme, which she talked about here, and she talked about how they're going to provide further assistance through that. It's difficult for the EU to respond in a unified way because, as I said, Ukraine is not a member. Individual member states are responding either diplomatically or providing military hardware. That's up to the individual member states. But the European Union their response has always been financial support, diplomatic support. It's not going to send weapons, military hardware to Ukraine. That's not going to happen. That's not how the European Union operates. And it's difficult, as I said, because Ukraine is not a member state. It would be an overreach. And it probably wouldn't be in the European Union's interest to do that. Now, it's not suggesting how individual member states operate and how they react to this. Now, it's interesting also how, Ursula von der Leyen is German. Her country has been criticized recently for its lack of engagement with Ukraine in dealing with the Russians. But you have to understand the historical aspect of this. Germany has a long history with Balkan and countries in the Balkans, and it has a long history with Russia, and it doesn't want to be seen as an aggressor. World War II is still quite fresh in many people's minds, and they don't want to be seen to be going down that road again, even if it seems just to be helping Ukraine out. So I can understand why Germany... Now, some people are saying it's because of Russian gas. Yes, that's part of the problem as well. There's an over-reliance on fossil fuels from outside the European Union, and we need to move away from that. There are attempts to do that. Unfortunately, there are member states who are engaging in that changeover at different speeds. But we have to provide assistance to Ukraine. Ukraine would like to become a member of the European Union, and I think that's part of the reason why the EU is providing so much money. It's not providing military support, of course. The European Union doesn't have an army, so it's not going to do that. That could be something that could be considered in the future as well. There is a reliance on NATO. What if NATO don't want to get involved? It could be an idea that the European Union form some sort of army in the future. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. I'd like to know your response to that as well. But the EU's response will always be to provide financial support, to provide diplomatic support, and nothing else. It can't do anything else, especially as I said before, Ukraine is not a member. It is working with the European Union on many levels, but it's still a third country. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.